My name is Maria Garcia, and for 8 years I worked as a housekeeper for the Morrison family, one of the wealthiest families in the city. I cleaned their 3-story mansion, cooked their meals, organized their events. I was invisible but essential, until the day my boss looked me in the eyes and accused me of stealing $85,000 from her safe. That day my life changed forever, but not in the way she expected. Because I had something Victoria Morrison never imagined I'd have: proof. And when I pressed play on that video, when her husband Richard saw what was on the screen, his face went whiter than paper. This is my story. The story of how a housekeeper destroyed the most powerful family in the neighborhood without raising her voice even once. I'm 45 years old, and all my life I've worked cleaning houses. It's not glamorous work, but it's honest. After my husband died in an accident 10 years ago, I was left alone with 2 daughters to support. I didn't have a college education, I didn't have connections, but I had hands that knew how to work, and a work ethic my mother had taught me since I was a girl. Never steal, never lie, never bow your head to anyone. I got the job with the Morrison family in 2016. Victoria Morrison had just had her 2nd child and needed help around the house. The mansion was huge: 5 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, a kitchen that looked like something out of a magazine, and a garden that required its own gardener. My job was to keep everything spotless. Victoria was 30 when I met her. She was beautiful, I'll admit. Tall, blonde, with that kind of elegance that comes from money. But she was also cold. Not cruel, just distant. I was an employee, and she never let me forget it. In 8 years, she never asked about my life, about my daughters, about anything personal. I was Maria, the one who cleaned. Her husband Richard was different. 42 years old, successful businessman, owner of a restaurant chain. At first he seemed kind. He'd greet me in the mornings, ask how I was, sometimes even joke around. I thought he was a good man trapped in a cold marriage. How wrong I was. My days were predictable. I'd arrive at 7 in the morning, prepare breakfast for the family, clean, do the shopping, cook lunch and dinner, and leave at 6 in the evening. Weekends were mine. I earned $1,200 a month, which wasn't much but was enough to pay rent on my small apartment and keep my daughters in school. For the first 6 years, everything was routine. But then, strange things started happening. First, it was small. Victoria accused me of breaking an expensive vase. I knew I hadn't broken it, but I had no way to prove it. They docked $300 from my pay. Then a gold bracelet went missing. Victoria didn't accuse me directly, but she started checking my bag every time I left. It was humiliating. After that, I made a decision. I bought 3 small security cameras with my own money. I installed them discreetly in the kitchen, the living room, and the main hallway, all with continuous recording that saved to a memory card. Nobody knew they were there. They were so small they looked like smoke detectors. It was the best decision of my life. The morning of March 23rd of this year started like any other. I arrived at 7, made coffee, set the table for breakfast. Victoria came down at 8 with her usual face, distant and perfect. Richard had an early meeting and had already left. The kids were at school. "Maria," said Victoria, while drinking her coffee. Her voice sounded strange, tense. "I need to talk to you about something serious." "Yes, ma'am," I responded, drying my hands with a towel. "Last night I checked my safe." She paused, her eyes locked on mine. "Money is missing. A lot of money." My heart started beating faster. "How much, ma'am?" $85,000 in cash." I froze. 85,000. It was more money than I'd seen in my entire life. "Mrs. Morrison, I didn't. You're the only person besides Richard and me who has access to this house when we're not here." Her voice was cold, calculated. "The safe is in our bedroom. You clean that bedroom every day." "Ma'am, I would never touch anything that isn't mine. You know that. I've worked here 8 years, and during those 8 years we've treated you like family." A lie, but I stayed quiet. "We've paid you well, given you Christmas bonuses. I even advanced you money when your daughter had that medical emergency." It was true. 2 years ago, my youngest daughter had appendicitis. Victoria loaned me $2,000 that I paid back religiously every month for a year. "And this is how you repay me," she continued, "by stealing from me, from us." "Mrs. Morrison, with all due respect, I didn't steal anything. I don't even know the combination to your safe." "Don't you?" Her smile was cruel. "Then how do you explain this?" She pulled out her phone and showed me a photograph. It was a screenshot of her bank account, a deposit of $10,000 with my name on it. My blood ran cold. That's not possible. I didn't deposit. "I have the receipts, Maria. 5 deposits of $10,000 each into your bank account over the last 3 weeks, and another $35,000 that you probably have hidden somewhere." "That's impossible. Someone is using my name. Someone—" "Enough!" Her shout silenced me. "I've called the police. They'll be here in 20 minutes. You can do this 2 ways. Admit what you did, give me back the money, and I won't press charges. Or deny everything, go to prison for aggravated theft, and lose everything, including your daughters." Tears started running down my face. Not from guilt, from rage, from helplessness. Someone had framed me. Someone had deposited money in my account under my name. But who? How? "Ma'am, please, you have to believe me. I didn't—" The front door opened. Richard Morrison walked in with his briefcase, looking surprised. "Victoria, I forgot some documents. What's going on here?" Victoria turned to her husband. "I'm handling the theft, Richard. Maria stole the $85,000 from the safe." Richard looked at me. For a fraction of a second, I saw something in his eyes. It wasn't surprise. It was fear. But it disappeared so quickly, I thought I'd imagined it. "Are you sure?" he asked in a careful voice. "Completely. I have the bank deposits with her name. I've called the police." It was in that moment that something clicked in my mind. The way Richard avoided looking directly at me. The way his hands gripped the briefcase. The way he'd walked in just now, right when Victoria was accusing me. And I remembered the cameras. "Mrs. Morrison," I said in a firmer voice. When do you say the money was stolen? Don't play dumb. You know perfectly well. Please, just tell me. When? She sighed with exasperation. The last time I checked the safe was 3 weeks ago. Last night I opened it to take something out and the money wasn't there. So it was sometime in the last 3 weeks. 3 weeks. The same 3 weeks I supposedly made the deposits into my account. I need to show you something, I said. There's nothing. Please, just give me 5 minutes. If after that you still want to call the police, I'll accept it. Victoria and Richard looked at each other. He nodded slowly. She shrugged. 5 minutes. I ran upstairs to my small locker in the service room where I kept my personal things. I took out my old laptop and the memory card from one of the hidden cameras. I came down, trembling. The three of us sat in the living room. I connected the laptop to their huge TV. Richard was looking paler by the second. Victoria looked impatient. I installed security cameras, I said simply, to protect myself after the previous accusations about the vase and the bracelet. Victoria stiffened. You've been spying on us? No, ma'am. The cameras only cover common areas. Kitchen, living room, hallway, never your bedroom or bathrooms. I just wanted to protect myself. That's illegal. Actually, it's not, I interrupted, with a calm I didn't feel. This is private property, yes, but there's no expectation of privacy in common areas where I work. I checked with a lawyer before installing them. A lie. I never consulted any lawyer, but I needed them to believe I knew my rights. Just show us whatever it is you want to show us, Victoria growled. I opened the video file. Date, 2 weeks ago. Time, 11:30 p.m. I was never at the house at that hour. The video showed the second-floor hallway just outside the master bedroom. The door opened. And out came Richard Morrison with a small suitcase in his hand. Victoria leaned forward. Richard, what is this? On screen, Richard looked around nervously, then quickly went downstairs. The living room camera caught him going into his personal office on the first floor. 20 minutes later, he came out without the suitcase. That doesn't prove anything, said Richard, but his voice trembled. Wait, I said. I fast-forwarded the video to 3 days later. Same time. Richard coming out of the bedroom with another suitcase. Same pattern. And again, 2 days later. And again, 5 days later. 4 trips in 2 weeks. Each one with a suitcase he didn't bring back. Victoria slowly turned to her husband. Her face had gone from confusion to understanding and then to fury. Richard, what's in those suitcases? Victoria, I can explain. What's in the suitcases? The silence was deafening. Richard stood up, walked to the window, ran his hands through his hair. When he turned around, his face was broken. I have debts, he whispered. Gambling debts. Big debts. Victoria jumped up. What? I've been gambling for 2 years. At first it was small, but then I lost control. I owe $2 million to very dangerous people. I needed the money from the safe to make a payment, or... He swallowed. Or they'd kill me. Victoria was shaking with rage. So what? You stole from me and decided to blame Maria? An innocent woman who's worked for us for 8 years? I didn't know what else to do. If you found out I'd lost the money gambling, you would have left me. You would have taken everything in the divorce. So you decided to destroy an innocent woman's life. I wasn't going to let her go to prison, Richard protested weakly. I was just going to scare her. I was going to offer her money to leave the country, to disappear. I froze. That was worse, much worse. The plan wasn't just to accuse me, it was to make me disappear. "There's more," I said in a trembling voice. I opened another file. "This is the recording from 4 days ago." The screen showed Victoria and Richard in the living room. I was supposedly out shopping. They weren't supposed to know there was a camera there. In the video, Victoria said, "Are you sure the deposits were made in her name?" "Completely," Richard responded. "I used her personal information that we have in the employee files, transfers from our corporate account to her personal account. If the police investigate, they'll find the trail leading directly to her." "And the fake bank receipts you had made? Are they convincing?" "Perfect. They look exactly like the real ones." Victoria had laughed. "Poor Maria. So trusting. She'll never suspect until it's too late. Once she's in police custody, we'll offer her a deal. Take $50,000 and flee the country or face 30 years in prison. And if she agrees to flee, then she disappears and we keep all the money. If she doesn't accept, the evidence will sink her anyway." In the present, in the living room, Victoria Morrison had gone as pale as her husband moments before. She was looking at me with absolute horror, finally understanding what she'd done. "You two," I said in a surprisingly calm voice, "planned to completely ruin my life. Not just falsely accuse me, but blackmail me into fleeing the country, leaving behind my daughters, my life, everything. And if I didn't accept, let me rot in prison for a crime I didn't commit." "Maria," Victoria extended a hand, "we can work this out. You deposited stolen money into my account using my personal information, which is bank fraud and identity theft. You created false documents, which is forgery. You falsely accused me of a serious crime, which is defamation and slander, and you planned to blackmail me." I stood up, my laptop under my arm. "Oh, and in case you're wondering, I already sent copies of all these videos to my lawyer with instructions to turn them over to the police if anything happens to me." Another lie. I didn't have a lawyer, but they needed to believe it. "Please." Richard took a step toward me. "Maria, please. We can give you money. A lot of money. 100,000, 200,000. Whatever you want." "I don't want your dirty money," I said with more dignity than I knew I had. "I want justice." I walked out of that house with my laptop, my belongings, and my honor intact. 3 hours later, I was at the police station showing the videos to a detective. 4 hours later, Richard and Victoria Morrison were arrested. The charges were extensive: bank fraud, identity theft, document forgery, slander, conspiracy to commit fraud. Richard's case became even more serious when they investigated and discovered he'd been stealing money from his own company for 2 years to pay his gambling debts. The trial lasted 6 months. I testified with my head held high, with my videos as irrefutable evidence. The Morrisons' lawyers tried to argue that the cameras were illegal, but the judge determined that since they were in common areas where I worked regularly, and since they never captured private moments, they were admissible as evidence. Richard Morrison was sentenced to 12 years in prison for fraud, theft, and money laundering. Victoria received 5 years for conspiracy and participation in the plan. But the story doesn't end there. I filed a civil lawsuit against both of them for damages. My lawyer, who took the case pro bono after seeing the news, argued that they'd caused me severe emotional distress, damage to my reputation, and had endangered my custody of my daughters. The jury awarded me $1,200,000 in compensation. I'd never had that much money in my life. With that money, I paid for my 2 daughters' entire college education. I bought a small but beautiful house, and I opened my own cleaning business, where I now employ 12 women and pay fair wages, health benefits, and above all, respect. Each of my employees wears a small lapel camera while working, not to spy on clients, but to protect themselves. Because I learned that in this world, people without power need proof to be believed. It's been 2 years since that day at the Morrison Mansion. My daughters are now in college studying law and social work. They say their mother inspired them to fight for those who have no voice. Sometimes I think about Victoria and Richard in prison. I don't feel satisfaction, But I don't feel pity either. They chose to use their power to destroy someone vulnerable. And they learned that power isn't enough when the truth is on your side. The story went viral in the local news. Housekeeper defeats millionaires with video evidence. I received hundreds of messages from other housekeepers, nannies, drivers, all telling me their own stories of abuse and false accusations. Many asked me how they could do the same, and I always tell them the same thing: document everything. Protect your work with evidence. Not because you don't trust your employers, but because the moment you trust completely is when you're most vulnerable. Today, my company, Cleaning with Dignity, is thriving. All my employees are insured, earn decent wages, and work with the peace of mind of knowing that if something goes wrong, they have protection. The Morrison mansion was seized to pay Richard's debts. I drove by it a few months ago. It's abandoned, with a for sale sign rusting in the yard. The windows are dirty. Weeds have invaded that once perfect garden. It's ironic. I spent 8 years keeping that house spotless, and now that they're gone, it's falling apart. But I'm better than ever. My daughters are proud of me. My employees respect me. And every night I sleep with a clear conscience, knowing I did the right thing even when it was the hardest thing. This was my story. The story of how a 45-year-old housekeeper defeated 2 millionaires who thought they could destroy her. The story of how 3 small security cameras saved my life. And the story of how the truth, documented and preserved, is always more powerful than money. If there's anything I want you to remember from my story, it's this. No matter how powerful your enemies are, no matter how much money they have, no matter how much they try to silence you, if you have the truth on your side and the evidence to prove it, you can win. Never bow your head. Never accept being treated as less. And always, always protect yourself. Thank you for listening to my story. If this story impacted you, like and subscribe to the channel for more stories of people who faced injustice and won. And remember, your dignity is not for sale, no matter how much money they offer you. See you in the next story.